The IJR's annual barometer conducts questionnaires with South Africans 18 years and older across languages, cultures and backgrounds. Given the history of the country, the IJR says it's important to know what needs to be done to address the past, but also what is needed to move forward as a united country.
Typically, these surveys are being conducted to inform policy because government can only execute policy and craft policy if they know what people want. And surveys like these give them an insight into what ordinary people feel on the ground.
The IJR says public opinion has been negatively affected by many years of state capture. The biggest change in public opinion from previous surveys is the decline in confidence in leadership. There's also a marked drop in confidence in public institutions.
There's a feeling that South Africans can only rely on each other and not on political elites and leadership, which is a difficult finding. We hope that it also encourages people to become active citizens and consider participating in next year's elections to make sure that their views and opinions and priorities translate into action at the polls.
South Africans have deep concern about the lack of economic transformation and the extent of inequality, among others. Since the Zondo Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, South Africans are also very perturbed by the levels of corruption. People feel that corrupt officials get away with their crimes and very little political will exists to deal with these issues.
In order to have a robust and functioning democracy, it is important in South Africa and other contexts as well for citizens to trust in government, to trust in that political leadership will look after their interests, operate with integrity and accountability, and that we can place confidence in those main institutions like national government, like local government that's charged with our day-to-day service delivery, like our elected representatives, to really prioritize the needs and the views of citizens. So if that isn't there, there is potential for destabilization. We already see extensive protests around service delivery issues in particular. It's difficult to maintain levels of social cohesion and trust when those things remain concerns.
Citizens are, however, resilient, as most people view being South African as an important part of how they see themselves.
Over the past 20 years, support for the idea of the creation of a united nation, support for the idea to reconcile as a nation has remained very strong. And I think if you look around you in the world at the moment, conflicts that are occurring, where people do not want to unite and people do not want to reconcile, I think this is one basic thing that we very often take for granted, but very important, I think, for us as a country to move forward. We are going through difficult times at the moment, but it is very important to move forward united rather than divided.
The survey was conducted in August and September with 2,006 participants. The full findings of the barometer is freely available online to the public. Mariska Botha, SABC News, Cape Town.